All right, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to take a close look at the lecturette. It's a key part of the services selection board, the SSB interview process. And you've shared some really good materials on this.
Yeah, excellent stuff.
Yeah, so our mission today is to help you understand what this lecturette is all about, how it's structured, what topics they usually throw at you, how to approach it like a pro, and, the big mistakes to avoid.
Exactly. Think of it like your one-stop shop to feeling prepared and confident, not just for the SSB, but anytime you got to speak off the cuff, clearly and all that.
Perfect. So first things first, for those maybe not super familiar with the SSB, can you break down what the lecturette actually is?
Sure thing. It's basically a mini speech, right?
Yeah.
They give you a topic, almost no time to prep, and then you got to speak on it in a structured way. It's designed to see how well you communicate under pressure, how confident you are, how clear your thinking is, and of course, your general knowledge too.
Sounds intense. So how does it actually work? Walk us through what a candidate would experience.
Okay, so picture this. You're handed a card, 4 topics right there. You got about 3 minutes. Pick one, get your thoughts in order, and then bam, 3 minutes to deliver that speech to the GTOs, the group testing officers. It's a real test of thinking on your feet.
3 minutes prep, 3 minutes to speak. Wow, that's quick. So what are the GTOs laser focused on during those 3 minutes? What matters most to them?
They're looking at a few big things. First off, do you get the topic? Have you structured your thoughts logically? That's like the foundation. Then there's your confidence, how you speak, eye contact, posture, all that. And finally, the flow of your argument. Does it make sense? Do your points build on each other?
So it's not just about the information, it's the whole presentation, the whole package.
Exactly. It's how you present yourself and your ideas.
Makes sense. So how important is the lecturette in the overall SSB selection process?
Well, I'd say it's a golden opportunity to show off those communication skills
Right.
and how you handle pressure. In the military, teamwork and leadership are everything. So being able to articulate your thoughts clearly and confidently, huge. The lecturette basically underlines that it's not enough to just know things. You got to convey them effectively.
Oh.
And that's where practice, being prepared, really pays off.
Right, preparation is key.
Yes.
Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. What kind of topics should candidates expect?
Okay, so luckily the topics often fall into a few main categories. So let's start with social issues. These could be anything from poverty in India and how to solve it, the role of education in national development, the impact of corruption, gender equality, and women's empowerment, even the impact of social media on young people, how it's shaping them.
So basically, showing you're aware of what's happening in society, maybe suggesting some solutions.
Right.
Okay, what's next?
Then you have national and international affairs. This could be anything from India's relations with its neighbors, the role of the UN, India's achievements in space technology, that sort of thing. Renewable energy, sustainable development, the economic landscape, those are all fair game.
So keeping up with the news, both at home and globally, is important.
Oh, absolutely. Then there's a category specifically related to the armed forces and defense.
Right, makes sense.
So we're talking about things like discipline in the armed forces, India's role in UN peacekeeping missions, the Make in India initiative for defense, cybersecurity, modern warfare, and what makes a strong military leader.
So anyone aiming for a career in the services should definitely brush up on those areas.
Definitely. Finally, and this is where it gets interesting, there are the abstract topics.
Ooh, abstract. Sounds challenging.
They can be. These are prompts that make you think conceptually. Things like success versus failure, what defines a person? Optimism versus realism, which is better? Time management, the key to success? Is risk-taking essential for growth? Or the classic hard work versus smart work, those sorts of deep questions.
Right, so less about specific facts and more about how you think and structure your argument.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say you've picked your topic, the clock is ticking, you've got 3 minutes to speak. How do you structure a killer lecturette?
Structure is everything. It helps you stay clear and helps the GTOs follow you. Think of it in 3 parts. First, a short intro, about 30 seconds. Address the assessors, state your chosen topic, and give a quick definition or some background info. Set the stage,
Get to the point, set the context. Got
Yeah.
it. What's next?
Next up, the main content. This is the meat of your speech, about 2 minutes. You want 2 or 3 key points that support your intro. Make sure they flow logically. And try to back them up with examples or facts where you can. And keep your language clear and concise. Don't lose them in jargon.
So a few strong points, backed up with evidence. And keep it simple. Makes sense. How should you wrap it up?
The last 30 seconds, that's your conclusion. Quickly summarize your main points, just to remind them, and then End strong. A memorable closing statement. Leave them with something to think about.
Nice. So, intro, main points, strong finish, a solid roadmap. Now let's talk about what not to do. What are some common lecturette pitfalls that candidates should avoid?
Oh, there are a few classic ones. Pacing is a big one. Some people talk a mile a minute, and it's hard to follow. Others are too slow, and you lose the audience. Aim for a moderate conversational pace.
Right, you want to be clear and engaging.
Exactly. Another one is lack of engagement. Not making eye contact. That can come across as lacking confidence or not caring about the topic.
Eye contact is so crucial, right? It shows confidence.
Absolutely. Then you have those filler words, the ums, the likes. We all use them, but too many, and it gets distracting. Makes you sound less prepared.
Yeah, those little words can really undermine a good presentation.
Totally. And then there are content-related mistakes, like repeating the same ideas over and over, or going off on tangents. That shows a lack of focus.
So stay focused, develop your points fully, and ditch the filler words. Great advice. As we wrap up, what are the key takeaways about the lecturette? What do you want our listeners to really remember?
The big thing to remember is it's not just about how much you know. It's about communication under pressure. Can you organize your thoughts? Can you speak clearly and confidently? Can you think on your feet? That's what they're looking for. So know the structure, know the common topics, and avoid those pitfalls.
And the skills you learn for the lecturette, they're not just for the SSB, are they? Being able to communicate clearly, think on your feet, that's valuable everywhere.
Oh, 100%. From giving presentations at work to just having a good conversation.
Right. So for all of you listening, as you think about this deep dive, take a minute to reflect on how you communicate spontaneously. What could you tweak? What could you improve? Maybe think about which topic categories you find most challenging. Social issues, national affairs, defense, those abstract ones.
That's a great exercise, actually.
Yeah.
Identifying your weaknesses is the first step to improvement.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Until next time.